All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's 12:32 on this Thursday. Doing an afternoon updates for you guys. As obviously we wanted to get some of the most recent trends in the data and make sure I had a full scope of all the data rolling in to get a better handle, because tomorrow is pretty complex. It's nothing record-breaking or alarming as far as a big major outbreak kind of scenario or anything like that. It's just that we haven't had much happening in a while, as Cameron alluded to in the comments there. So it stands out. So we just are trying to check off and see where we're standing on this, and I'll let you know what I've seen so far coming up in a second. And I cover the outlook for the entire weekend as well. A lot of weekend events, and obviously a bit on the long term. So welcome aboard, everybody. Some of the notifications still getting out onto the apps here, so giving it a moment for everyone to get on board so I don't have to repeat myself too much. As always, you guys can comment on the social media side, so if you're watching on the stream or on the Fire Stick, even on Twitch at the moment, you can comment on Twitch, but if you're on YouTube, you can obviously comment, as well as X and Facebook. But on the streaming app itself, there's no comment button. One day, we're hoping to get that on there for you all. But right now there's not. So if you think that I'm just talking to myself, I likely am, but I promise there's some people here too. Hello to everybody. Who was first today on YouTube? I wasn't paying attention. Blue? Blue. There you go, Blue. Welcome aboard. Hello to Paul, Weather Geek, ZK, Nikki is here. David is here as well. All right, everyone's slowly but surely evolving. If you're in here watching, don't be a lurker. Say hi. That's all you can do, say hi. I promise I won't call you out. If you don't want me to call you out, I won't call you out. I just want to know you're okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to cover the short term. We'll look at the rainfall from last night, too, because I like to always review that for those that missed how that storyline went last night. And then we'll get into the actual forecast itself, right? Live view right now. This is over into downtown Louisville, looking west from top of the Waterfront Plaza in downtown Louisville at the moment. Yeah, overcast, although it's mainly a mix of stratocumulus that we've got. And you're like, well, what does that mean? Well, a stratus setup is really tough to break up on cloud cover. It's a really high deck of clouds. It can linger all day. We typically see that more into the fall and winter times. This one's more got a cumulus factor to it. It's almost, the way I can describe it is like peanut brittle. It's easier to break up. So these can begin to break up here soon. You don't have to always wait for the clearing line to move in, which it is moving in, but they can also just break up right over you and you get a few sun rays. So that's some promising news for the afternoon. But in the short term, yeah, the clouds are ruling the afternoon, but it's keeping us cool, right? I mean, 60s, we'll take it. 68 here in Louisville, pushing 70 down to Fort Knox. Otherwise, 60 is just about elsewhere across Indiana and Kentucky. A few spots may get a peak or two of sun, and that's why you see maybe a spike or two around 70. Okay, the rain last night moved in, produced a 46 mile-per-hour wind gust last night as it moved into Ollie International. Some lightning and thunder, and of course, the very heavy rain. The heaviest of rain really started to train and focus right there along 64 and just south of it. That's where we saw the highest concentration of that repeating nature of the heavy rain, but it arrived right on cue for the morning drive today and caused some issues on the roads, as it tends to do, right? So I hope everyone's all right with that and took it slow. It seemed like everyone was fully aware based on what I saw in the patterns today, so on traffic. So glad to hear that and see that. The heaviest of rain in Jefferson County was the southern part, where a little more of a training effect. More than an inch of rain fell there. Airport was at about a half inch of rain. Here at the station, we picked up about 4/10 of an inch of rain. So no doubt the heaviest, again, was south of the airport. Highview, Okolona, Fern Creek, PRP, even Valley Station. But the real winners back to the southwest, Breckenridge County and Grayson, picking up some hefty totals here, over 2 to 3 inches of rain. You guys needed this rain too, right? So this is all good news. It helps in a big way. The drought index did come out today. You know, I forgot to load that. Let me see if it's here. I'm just curious what it looks like. I know we really can't use much of it because it missed the rain from the other night, but just for fun, let's see what the new map looks like as it begins to load up. And there it is. All right, yeah, it expanded the moderate drought everywhere in southern Kentucky and improved it. It got some of the rain that happened there in the Wabash early on Tuesday. But yeah, it definitely missed the Tuesday night rain event that we had in the area. And obviously for last night and this morning, it did not see this rain event. So don't pay any attention to that map. Don't get too worked about it. But my point to it all is that, as you just saw, 2 to 3 inches of rain in areas that certainly needed it in Breckenridge and into Grayson County. So congrats to you all on that. All right, it's nice to get that too without a lot of flooding issues and drama with that. The rain's still ongoing. It's just very scattered across central and southern Kentucky and Racine. The flow here is west to east. If it was a north wind, it would help. It would just drive all the clouds and the showers down into Tennessee, and we'd be done with this. Really, hours ago, we've been done with this, and we would already be in beautiful sunshine at the moment. But it's a west wind, and that's the same orientation as the front. So when they are the same orientation, it's very sluggish to get the front out of here. So that's the reason why it's a slow clearing trend and slow to get the rain zone to the south. But it rains over itself so many times, especially in southern Kentucky here, that you don't have any opportunities now to get any heating. So your severe risk has really been diminished significantly just because you're so overcast and you're just repeating the nature of showers. So good news for you all. And if anything, even the showers will continue to diminish, to just drizzle, and then that will even just fade away. So this afternoon looking great. No worries there, even though the severe risk just updated with a small section there of Adair County and Marshall. Don't worry about that. I think we're all right. Everyone good on today? What did you say there, Brad? Elizabeth, Indiana had 1 inch. Nikki's getting sprinkles right now. Where are you at, Nikki? I didn't catch where you're at there. I know sometimes you guys talk to yourselves, which I love that. I want you all to have your own conversation. You are chatting for you all. I know you're wanting to ask questions to anybody here that's doing the blog, but at the same time, I appreciate you all as a community and helping each other out. He from Middletown. Hello there, Mike. Hello, Laverne. Okay. 0.56 carry got there into southeast. Okay. So that's the severe risk today. The risk for tomorrow is where we're going to next start. Now, I get confused a lot on times because DST always messes me up. I was thinking that day 2 was going to be coming out at 12:30. It's day 1 that comes out. Day 2 is at 1:30. So this is still the previous day 2 or Friday's severe weather outlook that came out last night, early this morning. It will be updated in about 45 minutes or so. So at that point, if there's anything that will change, I'll let you know. I don't think there's going to be anything significant that would change. It'd be very minor details. Again, because there's not a lot of factors here. They're going to ramp this up into a massive outbreak scenario. It's just the minor differences, though, in how this storyline plays out do matter as far as what happens to your plans and what you're trying to prepare for. And that's why I want to make sure that we stay on top of any changes on that. But right now, we do have the marginal risk, roughly southern Indiana, points south. It's the low end level, marginal. But let's break this down. I love that SBC can do this. On your tornado potential, generally the same spot. Now, this wasn't here yesterday. And really, the soundings didn't really indicate a lot of a severe potential in previous days prior to this. It's only in the last 24 hours that there's been just enough hint with the forcing with the front coming in that there's a chance to get some supercells, at least mini supercells that could develop. But I have a question on that. I'll explain why. I'm a little suspect that in just a second. So that's the tornado potential, your damage and wind gust. Anytime you see severe risk, usually that's the reason why, is the strong wind potential. And hail, yes, especially in the afternoon potential development of thunderstorms, they could contain some hail. And I would actually argue that that could be a little more like this, extending toward I-75. But I like where it's at in general as far as the roughly the Ohio River south, but I think it could go a little further east. But either way, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue on hail, but I do think some hail reports will be received out of this type of a setup there. All right, so that's your outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center. Again, they'll be changing here within the hour. So here's how this looks, and I tried to decide which model would I really want to show you guys. If I could just make my own model, I would, but I'm not that smart. But I will use our in-house model, and then I'll kind of walk you through some of the questions we got. So here's the current setup right now. Again, any fuel, southern Kentucky, thunderstorm action today. I think that marginal risk is more for East Kentucky and West Virginia. And I think this model shows that fairly well. So, yeah, good on that. You can see the clearing that moves in. Tonight's a little odd on temperature, by the way. We do have a drop at sunset through about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, and then we'll hold steady, and then we'll start to actually climb into the lower 60s by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, which is a sign of the warm sector building in. So let me show you that. Again, the red and the gold colors indicate fuel, storm fuel. Watch how that is fading away this evening into the darkness of night. That goes away. All right, now we get into the overnight, and then at the last couple frames there, you saw a little bit of a reversal into Bowling Green. It started to happen. So there's where the warmer air is starting to push in. And keep an eye on that zone. That will continue to build north as we evolve into about 2 in the afternoon tomorrow. Now, it doesn't go all the way up to, say, Indianapolis. It goes at an angle, like a northeast angle, but has a good amount of real estate for Kentucky. If you're up here into Seymour, Bedford, Indiana, Paoli, North Vernon, you are looking to be in a spot that really everything I'm about to explain in the next few minutes just won't really apply to you because you'll be too far north. There's enough of a jet here coming in at 850 that is going to shear off the northern part here of this warm sector. So it's got a limit to it on how far north it can go. But unfortunately, it goes far enough north to get into wave country. And for a lot of the outdoor events tomorrow, and I'm not going to be able to list all of them, but I'm aware of it's Touchdown Friday night coming up. We've got the Cards game. We've got Racing Louisville. What else we got? Bourbon Fest is taking place down into Bardstown. There's a Bats game, I believe. There's a lot happening. This is just Friday evening alone. So I get that, timing out the thunderstorm potential is significant for you all because you got to be able to plan as you head out to these games. Don't cancel your plans. I don't see a reason to cancel. I just want to make sure that you're aware of the setup and stay close to changes in the forecast, number one. And number two, as you go to these events, just make sure you have a way to get notified, whether it's by automated alerts of lightning and heavy rain near your location based on your GPS location on your phone, or a notification from us trying to alert you because you're in a spot that could feature a thunderstorm, that you're able to get our notification. Just make sure you have a way to get notified somehow. That way you have enough reaction time to get into a safe spot and let whatever happens move in and move out, and then you can get back to your evening. So that's the overall thought process here of talking to you all now, is that we're bringing awareness to it. Now, could this be an alert day setup? Possibly. We may decide on an alert day. But does it mean anything's ramping up in a big way compared to what I'm telling you now? No. It just means that we're just trying to alert other people that are not watching the blog every day like you all do, or on streaming. We're trying to make sure we reach everyone now, that everyone's aware of the same things you're hearing at the moment from me. I hope that all makes sense. So as the fuel builds in, as we get into Friday afternoon, notice this model doesn't pop anything. And there's some that don't. There's some that fire up thunderstorms right away at 2 to 3 o'clock in more of a supercell form and across central Kentucky. So now it's a game there of when the atmosphere is going to get to the point of reaching its limit and thunderstorms will begin to fire. And that is just going to vary on very minor differences in dew point, sky condition, and obviously the placement of the warm sector in general. Usually that stuff cannot get resolved until the day of, which is a pain. And that's still more than 24 hours away. But as it stands now, I think anytime you get into a setup like this, where you begin to warm up well into the 80s, and you get a decent amount of sunshine, you got to be ready. You got to be ready for them to pop. And I do think the spotty nature of them popping at first makes sense. I don't think this is going to be a widespread squall line or anything like that. I think they'll be very spotty, but they will right away contain lightning and potentially some hail and some of those gustier winds. Now, on the tornado threat side of this, it depends on the bases of the clouds. Not to get overly into the weeds here on this, but the lower the bases of the clouds are on thunderstorms, usually with very high dew points will allow that. Anytime you develop any kind of rotation, it produces a funnel, and it doesn't have far to go to touch the ground and become then a tornado officially. If you have a very high base, though, you can still get a funnel cloud, but if the bases are high enough and there's no connection to the ground, it never is considered a tornado. It's just a funnel cloud, and it doesn't bother anyone, right? It's a mix of that on the data, but a lot of the pieces I've looked at today feature more high bases than they do lower bases. So the tornado threat, it's not a lock here at all. I would definitely say it's low end. I think that what we have to account for is that the models could be wrong on the amount of moisture and the dew points, and therefore the bases could be lower in some spots. And therefore, yes, then there would be an isolated tornado threat. But I don't want to play that aspect of it alone, because I don't see a screaming amount of data saying that. I do not. It's more of an issue of lightning, heavy rain, and some hail and bursts of gusty winds. By far, those all outweigh any tornado potential, but the tornado potential, it's not zero, it's just not, but it's not screaming as an alarming outbreak scenario. Type 3 if you understand that. I'll make sure I'm not talking around myself here. Type 3 for good on the threats that we're talking about, and I know because everyone asks about tornadoes all the time. Are we going to get a tornado? And I get it, that usually is the one that everyone wants to talk about, but I want to be clear that this is not a slam dunk on that aspect alone. But I do think it's something to watch. I think the rest of the midday data today will kind of determine that. I don't know if SBC will do a slight risk. Based on what I've seen so far, it's very borderline. They could, but they probably will wait until tomorrow morning to see how the sky conditions going to be and where the warm sector will be, and then they may decide. If I had a gut feeling, but I'm not them. It's their call, not ours. But this is like a moderate risk state. No. This is either a marginal or a slight. It's borderline on both. But that's how the storyline begins, is tomorrow afternoon when they begin to pop. Otherwise, as we evolve into the late afternoon and evening hours, something interesting starts to happen. The warm sector itself, remember that jet is strong here, right? So when the storms try to form, the reason why they lag in popping on the radar is the warm sector in the front overall, they're stagnant. They don't really move anywhere. Everything is its own spot. The warm sector's there, here's your cold front, and there's your cooler weather back here to the west. Everything's just stuck. But then suddenly, in the afternoon hours, roughly 3 to 5 p.m., the front then starts to move. When it's on the move, at that point, that's when you start to get a reaction, and the forcing takes over, and that's when your thunderstorms begin to pop. So there is a chance that if this front lags long enough, and the forcing or the front beginning to move delays long enough, by the time it does move, the northern part of that around Louisville and around the Ohio River in general may really struggle to fire. It would be just southern Kentucky and eastern Kentucky that would then fire into the strong thunderstorm category. So when the front starts to walk is going to be crucial on that. And again, I don't have that answer yet. But that's why there's an odd lag there, and why they don't just pop right away. Something has to push them. It's got to push the air first. You got to lift the air, right? So if there's no forcing there, you're not going to get any thunderstorms. So that's one of the reasons that I think of the lag that happens. But as we get into the evening hours, regardless of that scenario, the front will be on the move. So it will push the warm sector out of our area into southeast Kentucky by the time we get into sunset. That will take the severe risk with it as well. What ends up happening is now you still get bands of lightning and thunder that will still develop across Missouri, Kentucky, Indiana, and Illinois. But now here's the front right through here, going through East Kentucky down into Nashville. Most of the rain and the thunderstorms will be on the other side of it. We call this an on-a-front scenario, which is an indicator where most of your thunderstorms and rain are on the cool side of the front, not ahead of it. That cuts down on your severe risk in a dramatic way. So it may look scary on the radar with a lot of yellows and reds, but it's on the wrong side of the front. So I think our severe risk is going to be very much limited to only when that warm sector is right there. Let me back this up. Only when it's moving into central and northern Kentucky there, and right when it begins to move. Right at that point, when it begins to get that push, that's when we need to pay attention to isolated supercells. Once we get past that zone, the front then becomes an on-a-front scenario, then we end up with just rounds of rain that will continue to redevelop as we head into Friday evening. Here's a snapshot of even Saturday morning. Widespread rain and thunder. I think this may be a little more north than what you see here into Indiana, but widespread showers, some rumbles of thunder. It's that rolling thunder too, not the crackling thunder. It's the rolling thunder that you hear for a good 10, 15 seconds, it seems like. Good sleeping weather in that sense, so sleep in Saturday morning. And if you're wondering if this is going to be a washout of a Saturday, the good news about this is it will be a very similar setup to what we have today. is it should get enough of a push to move out of here. The clearing may be a little slow, but by mid-afternoon, we should be able to get a lot of sunshine in the area, and then we'll bounce up to the warmest part of the day in the 70s at that point by Saturday afternoon. There you go. Did that all make sense? Any questions? How bad is it going to be? Not that bad, not that bad. The only thing we're worried about, and it's more just meteorologists than anything, is just tracking that, just that narrow window when the front pushes tomorrow afternoon. How many will be able to pop? We don't know that answer yet. So that's what we're trying to decide on, is what to do with the rain chance for that time period at roughly 2 to 7 p.m. But after 7 p.m., we're out of the severe zone that gets its push, but we're not done with the rain. We could still deal with rounds of rain and lightning. So there still could be some issues if that ends up expanding. Let me back this up a bit more. If this ends up being a little more widespread on the lightning indicators as we head into Friday evening here, that could still cause some issues with the area high school football games, even the Cards game. If there's lightning near the stadium, you know the drill, right? So you don't have to have severe weather to have some impacts here tomorrow night, but we're on the cooler side of the front. So I'm not as worried about damaging weather at that point. It's just more of an inconvenience of the idea that we got to stop what we're doing, obviously, to seek shelter to get away from lightning because of that danger. That's our main worry. But as far as anything, as far as damaging winds, hail, and an isolated tornado threat, that's all going to happen only when the warm sector is in place during Friday afternoon. After that, we're on the other side of the front, and we're not golden, but we're in better shape than we were earlier on in the day. All right, good. Let's see. Saturday for the Cats, excuse me, it's Ole Miss, right? Saturday looks good. It may be a little cloudy at the very start of, certainly for tailgating, but clearing up as the game evolves. But actually, because of that, it could be really comfortable outside, but not worried about severe weather, and any rain showers will be relatively light. I don't see a threatening issue with lightning or anything like that, so I don't see any delays. Let's see. We could definitely use the rain. We can, Albert. I agree. We could definitely use it. Hi, Kristen. How are you doing? Soccer tournament this weekend near Oxmoor. Let's see. 8 a.m. game on Saturday. Yeah, bring a poncho just in case. It should be just general light rain. Maybe some rolling thunder, perhaps, but I'm thinking that's going to be before the 8 a.m. Window. Should be more of a just general light rain at that point and drizzle. But the fields will be wet, which makes it more fun, right? Danny, late to the party here. Is rain gone for the day? Yes, it's gone for the day for at least Louisville and Southern Indiana. IU game. Thank you, Adam. Kennesaw State. Are they playing in Bloomington or in Georgia, Adam? I'm assuming Indiana, because yeah, it'll be beautiful up there. Great timing for Bloomington, Indiana. Okay, everyone seems good. I think you guys understand it, and I don't like to get too in the weeds on explaining all the wildness of the meteorology of it, but I think that stuff's important, and I can't explain all this. I mean, well, I've been on here 30 minutes. I can't do this in 3 minutes on TV. None of us can. But it's hard to just say, oh, there's a chance of a strong storm and just leave it at that and run, right? It leaves you kind of empty-handed. You're like, wait a minute. Like, do I have to worry or not? Totally understand that. We feel that too as a viewer ourselves. So that's why we do this, to try to go a little further than that 3 minutes on TV. And hopefully you guys know now what we're looking at and what we're, and if you hear the language of what we're saying change, then you likely know what changed too on the science side. Okay, let me get into the long term real quick, and then I do have to run. We get into the weekend, cool weather settles in. I mean, we're going to get into the 40s at night, starting probably, I don't think it'll be Saturday night, possibly Saturday night, more likely Sunday night. A lot of 40s, 50s in the city, but cool and refreshing air for the second half of the weekend, early next week. In fact, the way this is trending, we've taken out the rain chance for the entire extended. It's dry. Active in the Atlantic. This is what we were watching to see if this would stay active. If so, that helps us out on keeping us dry. That looks to be the case. gradually warming up, maybe a degree or two every day. Slowly but surely warming up, eventually getting into the low 80s, then mid 80s, then maybe upper 80s by the time we head toward next weekend. So looking good right now for the start for Bourbon and beyond. Fantastic, in fact. After that, a couple questions I have that I still have to answer for myself. There's a strong high up here to the north. I don't know yet how far south that will be dropping down. That may actually keep us dry but lower the temperatures at the same time. So we'll see. It's almost like a dry front. I'm watching that potential. And obviously, soon to be Gabrielle forming in the Atlantic is going to be actually tracking a little more to the Bahamas at the very end of the extended, a little closer to the louder than life time period into the following week. I don't know yet where it's going to go. The models have been turning out to sea, going to the Carolinas, coming straight inland. They're all over the place. And some just actually make it fall apart. So way too early to talk about that. I know louder than life does not have the best track record when it comes to heavy rain events and weakening hurricanes, right? But Bourbon and beyond right now I think is looking great. Louder, I can't tell yet. I got to answer those questions about the pattern here, the upper air pattern, and I don't have enough data yet. So hang tight, hang tight. Let me get you to the 10-day as it stands now. And again, we'll go with, let's see, 75. I'll be optimistic that we can get there for today for a high temperature, especially with that late day sun that's going to be coming in here soon. 87 tomorrow. I mean, again, a quick flip. We'll watch the thunderstorm set up into tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. The rain is mainly early on Saturday, drying out as the day wears on, but the clouds, just like today, will lag on clearing, and then gorgeous after that. Not a bad setup. Carry it. That low pressure in the southeast, the low that was slow to move through, that's the one that's offshore. So that was the catalyst. Would it be in the southeast or would it be offshore? Big difference, right? You move it offshore, gives us dry weather. Obviously, if it was stuck still inland, it would be over us. So that has been shifting east almost every day this week, a slow progression to keep it away, and therefore we continue to trend drier. So that's why the rain chances go down. So we're in good shape now, Carrie. Earlier this week, was it earlier this week, right? It was taking it right through here. So this is good. All right, everyone looks good. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching for this midday kind of version here of the blog update. We'll be back on this afternoon. Ryan Hoke will be here shortly. We'll go over the midday data and decide if there's any trends, a notable trend on anything for tomorrow afternoon that we need to be aware of. If you hear us announce about an alert day set up for tomorrow afternoon, it's not so much anything's drastically changing. It's more so that our confidence is going up, that at least that potential is there, and we're just trying to reach everybody now, not just you that are watching the blog. So I don't want you guys to misconstrue that, but we are absolutely considering one for tomorrow afternoon and early evening, okay? Take care, everyone. I will see you guys coming up starting at 3 o'clock with Meyer. All right, I'll see you then. Oh, and by the way, I'm out until next week. Don't throw anything.